just coming to know God so much as refuge and shelter and protection. And that's been huge for me during this time too. And an incredible testimony to who he is and to his power.
Welcome to this week's episode of the His Hill Podcast. My name is Kelly Daugherty, and I'm your host. I'm joined today with my wife, who's sitting next to me, Arlene, and then we have Melissa Friesen with us. Now, you may remember that name because in one of our earliest episodes, I think it was episode 9, we recorded it back September 9th, 2021, we sat down and had a talk with Melissa. She is a missionary in Haiti, and she's been, Melissa, how long? First of all, welcome, Melissa. Nice to have you.
Thank you. It's so good to be here again.
Melissa, how long have you been in Haiti?
I have been here since the summer of 2009. So, some quick math.
So about 14?
Yeah, 14, 15.
Yeah, I can count. I can use my fingers faster, so I got there. Now, okay, and Melissa, you were an alumni at His Hill in 99, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So did you graduate in 99 or did you get here in 99?
I got there in 99, so I graduated in 98.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so...
You were one of those old students.
What? What does that mean?
Well, she was a year ahead of them all, They're kind of old.
Yeah. I had a whole year of experience under my...
Yeah.
Very important.
I'm sitting here thinking, but she was pretty young. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Thank you. Well, Arlene's back for the listeners. If you've heard other episodes where Arlene's been on with me, this is par for the course. So anyway,
if they've missed me.
Of course they've missed you. All right. So anyway, remind us a little bit of the ministry that you're involved in Haiti.
Okay, so I am with a ministry called Chosen and Cherished Ministries. It is an organization or a ministry where a very good friend of mine, we had been working closely together at a previous mission here in Haiti. And there was a situation with 10 specific children who were essentially abandoned by Haitian social services, and they basically were in need of a family. And while the organization that we worked with did process adoptions, these 10 children just didn't fit the criteria for various reasons. And so my friend Joyce, she just felt a very strong call in her life from the Lord to take them in and basically create a family with her and the 10 of them. And so I work closely with her and just supporting her in that. And then as the children have gotten older, we've been able to focus a little bit more just on community work. And that's a very brief nutshell. But
yeah, no, that's good. Thank you. Now, I encourage anybody that hasn't heard that particular episode, again, it's episode 9, September 9th, 2021, to go back and listen to that. It was a really interesting episode. Mm-hmm. And so we've been keeping up with you in Haiti, and you're going through, if you go back to that episode, there's lots of things that you've already experienced, but now since we've talked with you, there's been some serious unrest there in Haiti. And as we're talking to you now on FaceTime, you're sitting in your car because it's the quietest place you could find right now, with the exception of the neighbor that you have there. And at any moment, you may hear a sound that is strange. That will be a Haitian cow. But that's all right. It's fine.
It's lonely.
It's a lonely cow.
It's lonely.
Yeah.
But so anyway, you know what? Just take your time and tell us what's going on in Haiti, because to tell you the truth, we're not hearing about it in the news. So tell us what's going on, and just from the first day that it started, and what you and Christina, your daughter, and the whole group of you, Joyce and her kids. Just tell us what you guys have been going through.
Yeah, so I will back up to that episode that you guys had me on 2 years ago. So what had just happened was that the president of Haiti had been assassinated.
Right.
And that was in July of 2021. So we just passed the 2-year anniversary now. But so since that day, really, things just continue to escalate in terms of gang activity has always been something that goes on here. But it's often been very contained to specific areas of the country and controlled maybe by certain political leaders or different things along that line. But since the president's assassination, the gangs started to gain more and more control, and I think almost realized like, hey, we have power on our own. We don't necessarily need, these other people backing us, or and they started to basically gain control of more and more territory. And so up until that point, like I said, certain areas that were kind of considered off limits, or where you knew, okay, you can go up into this point and then past there, you would never go. But all of those lines were basically dissolved. And very, very horrific acts that they were performing, and just terrorizing communities, and raping women, and the kidnappings just majorly increased. And it was getting very out of control. And for us, I won't say the name of our community, but we always felt like it was, even when a lot of that was going on, we felt safe, and we felt very, very blessed to be where we were, and we weren't naive to think that, that we were just completely safe, but it was, we were safe, and it was a quiet, calm community. And, then earlier this year, that started to change, and we started hearing, different rumors, or, kind of different things of a certain gang kind of making their way into our community. And, to where, there were times where we kind of stopped going out, and, we up until that point, we walked around freely. We would go to the little stores down the road to buy drinking water or bread or whatever we needed. And, that all kind of started coming to a stop, and we started becoming more cautious and more aware. And, and then February 6th of this year is, that is the day that that changed everything for us. So it had started off as a fairly normal morning. We were still sending the kids to school. We felt okay doing that still. And we had a driver who came, to pick them up. And so we were, we felt quite good about that. And that morning, February 6th, it was a Monday morning. And so Christina and I, we just live down the road from the Chosen and Cherished compound. And so I walked Christina over, and all the kids got in the car, and our driver drove off with them to take them to school. And since it was Monday morning, Joyce and I were going to have kind of just our regular Monday morning, just sit down and just go over plans for the week. And I clearly remember we had both literally just poured a cup of coffee, and suddenly there was very, very close range gunfire. And we had kind of become somewhat accustomed to hearing shots go off in the distance from time to time. And of course, those were always unsettling. But this was completely different. And in fact, like, we were quite positive that it was ricocheting off of either her house or her window frames. And so, we literally hit the floor. We were on our stomachs, and one of the oldest boys from the family had actually been out on the balcony, and so he had quickly come inside, and he and then we gathered one of the other young men and we barricaded ourselves inside the house. And at that point, we didn't know, if this was a targeted incident or what was happening. And we have a very close friend who advises us in all things security related. And we got on the phone with him and with the police. And the unfortunate thing in all of this, where everything has been escalating in the last couple of years, is that the police force here in Haiti is they are outnumbered, honestly, by the gangs and even by the weapons that the gangs are able to obtain. Wow. And the police are honestly no match at times for what they're up against with the gangs. And so in this situation, unfortunately, the police never came. And like I said, we didn't know exactly what we were dealing with. But at that point, our friend, he's quite aware just kind of different things that are going on. And so he advised us to evacuate as quickly as we could. And so, of course, in that moment, our kids are at school and we're at the house. And so we were able to get in touch with our driver, and thankfully he was able to quickly go safely pick them up. And in the meantime, we practically packed some overnight bags, and we just piled in the cars and took off for what we thought would just be a couple of days and just let everything blow over. And that was February 6th, and we have not returned home since that day. So
with little overnight bags.
Yeah.
So where did you go to begin with?
So at that point, we went to a hotel that we knew was secure and safe. And then, so that was obviously, it was very hard to even fathom what was going on, during that time. And we continued getting updates we're part of, different WhatsApp groups and stuff that share security information and community information. And the reports that we were getting were, I can't even begin to describe the things that we were hearing, and sadly images that were coming across our phones of, things that were taking place right outside of our homes, basically. And it was horrifying. And we were honestly in shock, just to realize that the gangs had been able to take control so quickly, and just terrorizing the community. And so we stayed at the hotel for just over a week. And of course, at that time, we knew we couldn't go home, but we knew that we couldn't just be, continuing to rack up this hotel bill. And Joyce and I, we spent a lot of those days just praying and, just seeking what was next. And then, we received a message from some friends of ours here in country who they obviously knew that we had left home, and they had been praying about it a lot, and they offered us space on their compound. And so Joyce and I, we just took that to the Lord. And the number one thing in all of this is that we did not want to be out of step with where God wanted us. And we knew that he would lead and guide us, but we were adamant that we didn't want to be one step or one second ahead or behind him. We were just, it was so important that we were listening to his voice so closely in that time. And as we prayed about that offer, it became very clear to us that was where he wanted us. And so, so we were able to pack up and move to their, to that safe compound. And that's where we've been ever since. So.
Okay. Wow. That's just.
I
mean, this is stuff like you see in movies. This is not something you think actually happens to people,
Yeah.
So what, has there been any changes? Has anything happened in the country is there any kind of fighting back or any kind of defense that's been put up? Any effort from the government to try to fix this?
Honestly, yeah. And the unfortunate thing is, ever since the president was assassinated, which, yeah, as we mentioned, was 2 years ago, there has not been a new president put in place. And so there is a de facto prime minister. But as of October, I believe, there are zero elected government officials in place. And so there's essentially no government. The prime minister remains very silent. And so it's very hard to see what, if anything, he is doing. And as I mentioned, the police are, they've been outnumbered, and, it's been very, very hard for them to fight back. And so there were several months where basically the whole country was just living in fear. And I mean, rightfully so. I won't even, I can't even speak of the things that were going on, like just so evil and so horrific. And friends of ours right from our community, they would call us, and they didn't, not everybody has the means or the opportunity to take off like we did, and so there are many people who had to stay where they were, and we would literally get calls from friends that were hiding in bushes, and as they were, the gang members were walking down the road and whispering to us, and telling us how afraid they were, and we would hang up from those phone calls and just sob, and just be, just asking God to please protect them and hide them. And so all of this to say, there were several months of just basically terror. And then, a very, very huge shift took place in May, where there was one, there was a situation where a bus with known gang members was taken over by some members of the population, and they successfully, snagged them and captured them, and made a very public display of them. And that seemed to just spark something in the people, and they switched from fear to fighting. And it's hard to wrap my mind around that, what took place after that as well, because it became a huge shift of the population fighting back. And there was a movement that was called Wakale, which translates literally to stripped wood, and people took to the streets with machetes, and it was they were going after gang members and finding their hiding spots. And there was just, like I said, something that was just lit, a fire that was lit. And so it was a very successful movement, for several weeks. And we definitely saw a very huge shift in the gangs. Many gang members were killed. Unfortunately, not very many, head leaders, but a good chunk of their fighting force was taken out. And so we did see, a time for a while where things were quieter, and I think people were able to breathe a little bit more. But right now, we're very much now in a time of just kind of waiting to see, if the gangs are going to come back stronger, or if they're going to regain their momentum. And, throughout all of this, there's very, very differing opinions here among the people as to whether an international force is wanted or desired. And, there's many people who are pleading for that, and others who are against it. But, and I can't necessarily, I won't necessarily weigh in on, on my thoughts on that. But, I think at least if nothing else, some type of support for the police is needed, to where they can feel empowered and where they can do their jobs properly. So,
okay. So they want to do their jobs. They just don't have what they need to be able to do their jobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, and many of them, they have their own families at home. And so do they go put their lives in danger knowing that they don't have the resources that they need to do their job properly, or, and
right.
Yeah.
So how's everybody getting, just getting your daily needs, water, food? How's that working?
Yeah. So, the community that we're living in right now, thankfully, it is quiet for the most part, and there are some grocery stores not too far from us, and so thankfully there's a lot of local produce and things like drinking water and produce and eggs and bread we can obtain quite easily from nearby. And then every few weeks or so then we will take a trip to one of the bigger grocery stores, but we just have to be very cautious. And like as I mentioned earlier, kidnappings are still a very huge just stress and just something to be very aware of. And so every time one of us ventures out, we're essentially taking a risk, but we also feel fairly confident in where we're going. And we have a driver who takes us, and we're able to, just get some of the things that we can't necessarily get, just right down the road.
Great.
So another huge blessing is that we're able to receive mail through Missionary Flights International. And so, the really neat thing is that we can actually order a lot of food, like literally from Amazon. And so, we order protein bars and peanut butter and the list goes on, and then we can have them shipped in and we have it delivered right to our door. So that's a pretty incredible blessing. So
they're able to still navigate the mail people are still taking risks and going through.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
So so basically where you are now, it's you, Joyce, and all the kids. And that's it? That's just who's there at the compound?
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
Okay. And when you do go out, do you all go together, or just one of you go, or how does that?
Just one of us goes. So we essentially take turns, and the kids we just lay pretty low for the most part. We want to just keep a very low profile, and if we do go out, then one of us we'll basically take turns doing those bigger grocery runs, and that's about it. So,
and how are the kids doing, just having to stay in the compound like that for so long?
Yeah, it's really quite incredible. And I think I was saying to somebody the other day that, I think that God gives us what we need for our situation, right? And that's not to say that things are not hard, or that, we don't feel like we're going to climb the walls at times. But I think that there's just an incredible amount of peace and contentment that he's given all of us to be within those walls. And thankfully, there's room to run and play basketball and, get some of those things out. But it's definitely not the same, and it's not, it doesn't feel, sustainable to live that way. But, I do have to say that God has provided an incredible amount of, just literally everything that we need, whether it's, meeting our needs physically, or, just the ability to all just be together within these walls and not absolutely drive each other crazy. And
what are the ages of the kids that are there with you?
So Christina, who's my daughter, and she's 10, she just turned 10. And then Joyce's kids are ranging from 14 to 21.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is there anything? I mean, I'm sure there's lots of things, but what are some things that the Lord's just been working in your heart and teaching you in all of this?
Yeah, there are many things.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'll imagine.
Yeah. I have to say that, the Psalms have become very, very real. And I feel like there's times where David, I'm reading what he wrote, and I feel like it can literally be transported to my situation or to our situation. And I think, I think one thing is, and just reading some of the things that he wrote and how he cried out to the Lord, that it's okay, it's okay to, I don't ever want to question God, but that it's okay to ask questions of him.
Okay.
And I can honestly say that I have zero doubts that he's 100% in control, and that for me has not wavered for a second. And that, that doesn't mean, again, like that, that things are not extremely hard or difficult, but I know that he not only sees everything that's happening and that has happened, but and what's coming, because right now, and for the last few months, we're just in such a state of waiting. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what's next.
Right.
But to have that absolute certainty that he not only knows, but he actually wrote, he's the author. Like, he literally wrote the next chapter, and, and so I can take incredible comfort in that, and just, that he's going to lead us exactly where he wants us in his perfect time. And and in the meantime, that I can just learn to trust and continue to trust that he is faithful, and that he never, he has promised to never, ever leave us or forsake us. And that's, incredible.
Yeah, right.
And
as you were talking earlier, I was even thinking of David and some of the Psalms. What you were saying, there were things you were saying that was reminding me of his thing. And I appreciate how you said you don't want to question God, but you've learned that it's okay to ask questions, because that's just what David was doing. And I think in asking the questions, we're coming before him honestly, and it's interesting how in asking the questions, he gives us the answers. And isn't it interesting, in all those Psalms where he does ask the questions, they always end with praise, and always end with the security of God's faithfulness, his presence, and
exactly.
and he has shown us that, and how could he not show us his presence in any? He couldn't. There's no way he could show his presence to us any stronger than he did in Christ. When Emmanuel, God with us, and then his his very indwelling of us, that we're like you said, he never leaves, he never forsakes. What a testimony that is. That's we've been praying for you and Joyce and the kids, and it's we just feel frustrated and helpless, and just thinking of all that you're going through. And it's really encouraging to hear, you say that God is faithful. He's taking care of you, even in, just simple, even down to some of the simple things. But
I was wondering, how about the kids? Do they all know the Lord?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Wow.
And how are they? Yeah. How are they with the Lord? How are they doing spiritually with all of this?
Yeah, I think that it's been, and I mean, my prayer for all of them has been that this will be a time when they, that they do learn to rely on him. I can't say that I had to, rely on God when I was 15 years old in the same way, right?
No.
And so, and just to be able to look back on this time and see how he took care of them, and how, he was so faithful to them. And, like there's been a couple of nights where we all ended up sheltering together in the hallway as, gunshots were ringing out very, very close by. And, we were able to read Psalms and like have low worship music playing on the phones. And I hope that they can remember those nights, when they're older and see how God was protecting us in those nights. And so,
yeah, the responsibility that you two women have with those children is immense.
It is. What an example.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it just...
If there's, if our listeners, is there any way that we and our listeners can help out? Are there things that we can send? Is money helpful? Or other things? What can we do?
Yeah. A very tangible way is, as I mentioned, we are able to receive mail. And if that is something that people, like you said, I know, that people sometimes feel helpless and of course we welcome prayer. And that is the number one thing that has sustained us and that will keep sustaining us. But yeah, if anybody wants something tangible, we can, if you want to, I can send you a list of items, that could be useful that people can literally order from Amazon and have sent directly to our address. They don't even have to, put a package together themselves. And so if that's something that listeners might be interested in, I would gladly, I could send you a list of items that would be helpful or beneficial.
Okay. I'll tell you what, why don't you do that? Send us a list, and then anybody that's listening, if you get in touch with us, you can do that by email. You can contact me, Kelly, Kelly, at hishill.org, and then we'll pass on that information to you, and so you can get things to Melissa and Joyce and all the kids. Incredible. The cow hasn't made one sound.
No, not one.
And before,
that cow sounded really sad and
sick.
I
was really hoping people could hear it, to tell you the truth, man.
Sounded like a foghorn.
Before I pushed record, it was just nonstop.
It looks like you found a nice little patch of grass, or if you can call it that, to munch on. So
he's content with food.
Yeah.
Melissa, I have one more question. I'm just wondering, how is the church doing in Haiti through all of this?
I honestly, I would say that they are very strong. And I actually shared yesterday of how there's a pastor, I can't remember his name now, but he's in Florida, but he organized a countrywide march for crying out for relief for Haiti, and he's called for a 40-day fast. And some of the images that I saw, it was encouraging to see. There was marches in Miami and Orlando and in Paris and New Jersey. And it was really neat to see some of the international community getting involved. But the images that came out of Port-au-Prince were just, just mind-blowing. The sheer amount of people just coming together and crying out to the Lord. And and so I think, I feel like good things are coming, and I think the Lord, he's not going to forget his people, and I think that as they cry out to him, I think change is going to come. So
okay, wow,
Wow, that's
okay,
good.
There was one other question I had. I can't remember what it is.
You're old.
Yeah, I am old.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
Oh, well, there we go. It's gone.
I do want to say one of the things,
yes, go ahead.
and I know it's been going on and on, but there is one other thing that I just feel like I want to be able to just give testimony to the Lord for, and that is, I know, I talked a little bit about, just some of those nights of, where gunshots were ringing out, and even the day that we had to flee home, and just the way that, we've clearly seen God's hand of protection over us. And that is something to me that, I'm never, ever going to forget. And we've even had, like in our community, there's homes that have been burnt and ransacked. And we've had countless people say to us, like, we can't understand why your 2 houses haven't been touched. And,
wow.
And just, the fact that, I don't know, there's been nights where, I've just truly pictured that there's, just armies of angels just surrounding our homes, or, that maybe they tried, but they were unsuccessful. And, like I said, like, we've had people that have said to us, like, it just doesn't make sense. And so that, just,
wow.
like when you asked just what I've been learning, and I think it's, just coming to know God so much as refuge and shelter and protection. And that's been huge for me during this time too. And an incredible testimony to who he is and to his power. So,
wow.
Oh, that's, praise the Lord.
Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Really cool.
Yeah. Well, Melissa, we'll keep praying for you, and we'll get just get that information to me, get that list to me, and then how we can then buy the products and get them to you, and then we'll organize that. And we appreciate
Thank you.
We appreciate the example that you are. We love you, and we are praying for you. And
thank you. Love you guys too.
And stay in touch. Let us know if there's anything else, and if there's anything else you want to say on the podcast, you think about it later, and you want to do it again, let me know, and we'll
talk to you anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Melissa. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for tuning in to the His Hill podcast. You've been listening to our host, Kelly Doherty, and Melissa Friesen, a His Hill alumna from 1999. We hope hearing from Melissa was eye-opening and offered new perspective on what it means to have faith and follow where he leads, no matter what that may entail. We are nearing the end of high school week, and my goodness, what a hot few days it has been. Everyone has remained in good spirits, though, despite the extreme heat, which has been a huge blessing to all of us. The days have been full of good conversations, lots of pickleball, freeze pops and ice cream bars galore, and savoring the goodness of God. Please keep praying for open hearts for these campers. The week isn't over yet, and we are excited to see what these last 2 days will bring. Again, thank you for joining us this week for another episode of the His Hill podcast. Remember to keep your eyes fixed on Christ. I'm Lizzie, and we'll see you next week.